Welcome back, brothers and sisters. I am Braden. This is Langley Outdoors, the place where we not only talk about what's going on in the gun world, our beautiful country, how we're going to fix both of those things together, and the content that we're going to talk about right now on our quest to slap tyranny is the IRS having a bill introduced that's going to completely disarm it, liquidate its stockpiles, and basically nullify the entire agency. And I'm kind of here for it. Everything that I'm about to show you is going to be linked in the description box below, but of course there is a little bit of a fly in the ointment, which I'm going to show you in 1 second. Now, as we go through this, make sure you hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, turn the notification bell on, because YouTube is on a quest to deprive you of your freedom prescription through this channel, and we cannot abide that kind of malfeasance. So make sure you have not been unsubscribed. Okay, as always, everything is linked in the description box below. Let's hit it, guys, but before we do, you gotta check out the deal Patriot Mobile just threw your way. You can get 15% off your line forever, no matter how many lines you open, each individual line. Not only do they have better technology, in my opinion, they offer more towers, in my opinion, a better coverage network, more reliable service, customer service in the United States. They can buy you out from your existing contracts. They can put you on a reliable plan that's made specifically for you. But they also give you 15% off the entire line if you use code LOA. Guys, they put their money where your beliefs are. You are aligned in all the things that you demand, including service and spending and supporting of causes. Check it out and you get a 15% discount forever using code LOA. There's a link in the description. Don't forget that code or it won't apply. All right, let's get into that, and thank you to them for making this possible. But this one is where the fly begins. All right, so one of the big things that bothers the crap out of me is when people on both sides of the aisle, I'll be very generous. It's a happy Wednesday morning. Why can't we be generous? When people on both sides of the aisle put forward bills that are red meat for their base in order to turn public opinion in favor towards them after they've been buttheads. Okay, so now Joni Ernst here. Now Joni Ernst is a Senate Republican, and just to give you a few of the highlights of the last little bit, which makes her a bit of a butthead, she signed and supported the Senate Bipartisan Safer Communities Act, that little gun control gem, the only one that Biden got through. Yeah, she signed on to that. And then once Trump got inaugurated and all the momentum started, she started complaining about how everything was unfair because her rhino activities are being called out and she's getting heat for being a rhino. So it makes sense that her and John Cornyn, both in the same rhino camp, would come out all of a sudden as pro-freedom advocates right around time for re-election. Now, I am going to say that out front, but, and this is a big but, this is a nice bill. I like the way this looks. Let me show you this. Two mind-blowing facts from Senator Joni Ernst. IRS has enough armed agents to be one of the 50 largest police forces in America. Yep, it's been that way. Where you been? It is more common for IRS agents to accidentally fire their weapon than to do so intentionally. Yep, that checks out. And my new bill disarms the IRS and saves tax dollars. My God in heaven. Get the red meat printer out for the conservatives. They'll jump right on board, right? All right. Ugh, goodness gracious, I do not like manipulation, and they really do this a lot. But let's jump over here. So this is Fox News. This bill is taking aim at IRS, which would strip the agency of guns and ammo. The only thing IRS agents should be armed with are calculators, Representative Barry Moore said. Now, to be fair and candid with you, the bill that was introduced in the Senate by Joni Ernst has a companion bill in the House. So, is that a good step? Yeah, that's a good step. Is the IRS and executive bureaucracies kind of on the chopping block right now with 20% tax force cuts or workforce cuts, 87,000 agents that have been effectively halted from the Biden administration era? Yeah, we're in the right direction. Is it an easy whipping post? Yeah, it's a low-hanging fruit. We can knock that out. Is it going to happen? I don't know. But I can tell you what's happening. While American taxpayers are familiar with the annual rigmarole of filing their federal taxes and realizing just how much of their hard-earned money Uncle Sam is taking away, several House Republicans are pushing a proposal to take some things away from the IRS, guns and ammunition. And this is an interesting one right here. The Why Does the IRS Need Guns Act, their names are so asinine, would disarm the federal agency, prohibiting the Commissioner of Internal Revenue from using funds to buy, receive, or store firearms and ammo, and requiring the transfer of IRS firearms and ammunition to the Administrator of General Services. The guns would then be sold or auctioned to licensed dealers, and the ammo would be auctioned to the public. Now that I'm down with. Because we're talking about 10 million rounds of ammunition. Why does the IRS have a 10 million round stockpile? It's not a good question. But if we're going to liquidate it, let's dump that on the open market. Let me know the links and I'll disperse them for everybody. But as we continue, but more claim the federal agency has regularly been weaponized. Of course it has. The IRS has consistently been weaponized against American citizens, targeting religious organizations, journalists, gun owners, and everyday Americans. Arming these agents does not make the American public safer. My legislation, the Why Does the IRS Need Guns Act, would disarm these agents, auction off their guns to federal firearm license owners, and sell their ammunition to the public. The only thing IRS agents should be armed with are calculators. And I completely agree with that. Don't take my skepticism on this as disapproval. I'm totally down with this. I mean, here's the companion bill in the Senate right here, S 1436. A bill to prohibit the IRS from providing firearms and ammunition to its employees and for other purposes. I'm okay with that. I would love to get it going, but here's the brutal reality here. There's 0 co-sponsors on this bill in the Senate. In the House, there's like 3. So is it a priority? No, it's not a priority. Is it potentially and maybe the intent to rally up the base and get real excited about them finally doing something conservative, even though the bill didn't happen and they're using bills as marketing pieces? That's pretty likely too. But let me go over here to this last piece. Again, I'm trying to keep it 100 with you guys. I don't want to sit here and say that it's going to happen. But the introduction is a very important step in the process. Joni Ernst proposes to sell millions of dollars of IRS firearms to pay off the national debt. Well, it's a drop in the bucket. I'm not against it. Let's continue. Senator Joni Ernst, Republican Iowa, on Monday introduced legislation that would sell off millions of dollars of the IRS's firearms to pay off the national debt. The Iowa senator introduced the legislation after reports from the open books have suggested the IRS would have one of the 50 largest police departments based in its headcount and stockpiling of firearms and ammunition. Why is the IRS wasting millions of tax dollars stockpiling guns and ammo? That's a really good question. But again, why is it just being asked now? This is not a new thing. This happened under the Biden administration. And if I recall correctly, it was like in the second year, I believe, second or third year of the Biden administration. It wasn't like recent. It wasn't, on Biden's last way out the door. No, this was a pretty established thing. We talked about it on our channel. This is especially concerning given the history of partisan witch hunts within the agency and the fact that it is more common for IRS agents to accidentally fire their weapon than to do so intentionally. I am selling off the agency's firearms, using the proceeds to pay down the bloated national debt and recommending firearm safety courses for these tax collectors. That is kind of funny. But listen to these numbers. I'm going to zoom in a little bit because this is kind of staggering. Oh, I'm sorry. Here we go. Since 2006, the IRS spent $35.2 million on guns, ammunition, and military-style equipment. The years 2020 and 21 were peak years for the IRS for purchasing weaponry and gear. See, I told you. Just since the pandemic started, the IRS has purchased $10 million in weaponry and gear. Okay. So, we've got machine guns, full autos, semi-automatics, tens of millions of rounds, $10 million since the pandemic in weaponry and gear that we want to liquidate and sell to the public. I mean, I'm okay with selling it to the public. That'd be kind of cool because they'll probably sell it at a loss, which may be beneficial for us. But again, same question. Why, since 2006, has the IRS spent $35.2 million on guns, ammunition, and military-style equipment? Doesn't it seem a little bit much? Anyway, last thing, and then we'll wrap this up. A 2021 report from the Treasury Inspector General for Tax Registration discovered special agents at the IRS Criminal Investigation Division accidentally fired their weapons more often than they intentionally fired them. I wonder if they were P-320s. Oop! Arming these agents does not make the American public safer. My legislation, the Why Does the IRS Need Guns Act, would disarm these agents, auction off their guns to federal firearm licensee owners, and sell their ammunition to the public. The only thing IRS agents should be armed with are calculators. And I'm going to be real with you for a second. I'm totally down with the only thing them being armed with calculators. And I'm also totally down with them liquidating these stockpiles because they don't need to have them. I'm also okay with sending them out to the public to bring the prices down on ammo and some guns and to increase the availability. I'm down with all those things. What I'm not down with is the manipulation of the population for conservative red meat to be thrown out for their own benefit when they have very little intent to actually get something done. If that's the case, I don't like that a whole lot. However, I'll keep following this for you guys. Let me know what you think in the comments below, and I'll see you on the next one. I'm Braden. See you later.